power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before, and be aware, safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy.
To everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa. Why do I live?
Work, play, and everything in between. Stay cool with Carhartt from G&L Clothing. High-performance jackets, tees, and shorts. Whatever you do, you'll be more comfortable in Carhartt. Find it all at the Carhartt store inside G&L Clothing.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we've got it all.
And word of mouth. That's the main ways we receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it. And I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Repeat and referral and word of mouth. That's the main ways.
At Mid-American Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before you dig, have annual furnace inspections, and be aware of hazards at home. Mid-American Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy.
Our Thursday here in Fort Dodge continues as we welcome you back to Harlan Rogers Park, the home of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union State Softball Tournament. It's the second of 5 semifinal games here today on the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network. We are here at Diamond 2, and we complete the 4A bracket with a matchup between the Charles City Comets and the Ballard Bombers. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to State Softball here in Fort Dodge. Brian Carlisle alongside Zach Carlisle. Welcome to the pregame show. Let's talk about both of these teams. Charles City comes in 32-6, 33-6 now as they knocked off number 2 Fairfield as far as the seeding is concerned. And then for Ballard, they knocked off one of their nemesis, if you will, from the Raccoon River Conference, Carlisle, back on Tuesday night, that game as well. So let's talk a little regional stuff for Charles City first. We're 2-1 winners, and this one was the upset of the tournament as they knocked off top-ranked Benton Community 2-1 in the regional final. And then if we look at for Ballard, as we look at Ballard here, it is a team that knocked off Nevada 18-0 in their first regional game, and then won 7-0. They were and then they took care of Ballard took care of Carlisle, and back against that Fairfield and Charles City game, 5-4 in favor of Charles City on that first game. So Zach, I'm going to turn this thing over to you, and this is the first meeting for these two teams as well. We've seen a lot of first here as you and I kind of went down and started looking at everything. These teams didn't really nobody's really seen each other. So this is kind of that new softball side where you're not used to playing somebody. Now we get after it. But that could all change in the 4A championship if Ballard is able to get through today, because that's familiar foes as they would take on Winterset.
Yeah, that's to me the Raccoon River Conference was by far the best league all summer long in Class 4A. 3 teams represented in the state softball tournament here in Fort Dodge with number 1 seeded Winterset. They're playing at the championship game tomorrow, and then the first round matchup, number 3 seeded Ballard and number 6 seeded Carlisle. So this is going to be a good one, though. I think we're seeing a couple of teams that play kind of different styles, but I think another common theme we're seeing is a lot of young players, not just in today's game here, but we saw that in the opener with Winterset and Oskaloosa. We're going to see that in 1A. We're going to see that in
3A.
In
we see it a
3A
lot.
games as well. So I think that's going to be the thing. But no matter what, it comes down to pitching, and that's where this comparison kind of comes in. Sammy Hare and Abby Carlin. Carlin will be in the circle for Ballard when they bat. Or when they pitch, and be in the field in the bottom half of the first. So who we'll see first is Hare from Charles City, about 22-5, a 1.39 ERA a year. Their pitching staff, which is mainly her, but she's got some help from Taylor Schmidt and Alex Litterer, a 1.72 ERA as a pitching staff. This team can pitch, and that's what's rode them thus far up to this point in their tournament and what they've done. Now they gave up the 4 runs to Fairfield, but they were able to upset, if you will, the number 2 seeded Fairfield. So Charles City comes in with a lot of confidence, looking forward to seeing what they can do. And then as far as Ballard is concerned, at Abby Carlin, the senior pitcher, sophomore and senior in the circle for these 2 teams. Carlin, boy, she's been even better in terms of ERA, 1.12.
Look at that team down there.
I
that
mean,
one's
the
even better.
Team ERA 1.06. She's backed up by a sophomore, Hannah Elliott. I'd be surprised if we saw Elliott, but you never know if the game goes however long it could go. This could be a very, very low-scoring game. We saw that between Winterset and Oskaloosa. A 3-run explosion was like huge in that game, and Winterset was able to come back and win it. This one should be very similar. Should be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating that we're going to continue with that dominant pitching theme, and that's going to be the fun thing to cut. Because the other thing that does do, and I got thinking about that as we were going through the Winterset game, it makes this game go along quicker. When you have dominant pitching, the game moves, and everybody's in that ebb and flow much earlier. When Oskaloosa scored in that first game, in that second inning, you could see they were giddy, they were loose. Winterset was still fairly tight. All of a sudden they explode, and Oskaloosa obviously wasn't able to overcome and goes down to defeat. But Ballard, this team has been an offensive team all year, hitting 27 home runs with Maggie Larson leading the way with 12. I don't know that if they're able to figure out a way to get on to Hare, this could be a long day for Charles City. If they're finding that way, I don't know. She's tough. I get that. I don't know that Charles City, as far as from where they come, has seen the likes of this Raccoon River though, and this is why you play that game. This is the whole key to that. It's going to be interesting to see if Ballard can keep that dominance for the Raccoon River going.
Well, I mean, if you just base it off of, Carlin's the senior and Hare's the sophomore, so there's that. But young blood's kind of taken over this tournament. We've seen it before. So I wouldn't put anything past Charles City at this point. And to be honest, once the upset happened at that regional final,
it changed.
Everything changed in Class 4A.
4A
and that
completely
gave
changed.
1 through 8 confidence. Say, hey, let's go. We can do this.
And why not me?
And Winterset was bumped up to that number 1, and they were down 1-0. They were looking like they were about to get shut out in a game against Oskaloosa, and they came back to win it 3-1. Anything can happen in Fort Dodge, and anything can happen in these semifinals. This is going to be a fantastic game. Really looking forward to it.
Well, and real quick, I wanted to jump around a little bit, but we're gonna kind of I want to kind of focus in on Ballard and Charles City. we already talked about the upset, and then obviously the keys to this thing is we have a few of those. But when you run down, and I was kind of running down through Ballard's schedule. They lost to Winterset 3-2, lost to Ankeny Centennial 12-5, lost to Carroll 5-4. Other than the blowout from Centennial, all of their games have been really
tight. Which is a class
tight,
up.
Is a class up. So being in that tight feel, that's probably something that they're going to be able to maybe ride on a little bit. When you look at Charles City, their losses, they lost to Waterloo East 5-4. They lost to Kennedy, which is a step up. West is a step up. They've played some big dogs, so maybe this moment's not going to be that big as like I think it is.
So what we've seen, we talked about pitching. Ballard's tossed 15 shutouts this year. Charles City has tossed 12 shutouts this year.
Yeah,
this is going to be a
stuff.
pitching duel, and I think it's going to be that same type of thing where whichever offense can kind of find a way to just get that one key hit, they can do it. Ballard was able to jump out in front of Carlisle. They put up 7 runs through the first 2 innings.
Yep.
I don't know that that's going to be something they can do against Charles City.
You bet. So this has been the softball pregame show. It's semifinal number 2 here in Class 4A of the 2017 Iowa High School State Softball Tournament, and it's coming up next.
At Mid-American Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before you dig, have annual furnace inspections, and be aware of hazards at home. Mid-American Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy. At Mid-American Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep...
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Seal, it's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa. Why do I look for the seal?
Work, play, and everything in between. Stay cool with Carhartt from G&L Clothing. High-performance jackets, tees, and shorts. Whatever you do, you'll be more comfortable in Carhartt. Find it all at the Carhartt store inside G&L Clothing.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we got it all.
We welcome you back on the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network as we're getting ready for Class 4A, the second semifinal. Ballard and Charles City will be doing battle here. And, Zach, I'm going to let you go ahead and run down the starting lineups for both teams and the coaches, and then we'll talk some keys to the game.
Well, the 34-5 Ballard Bombers out of the Raccoon River Conference. Head coach Charlie Husak puts together this lineup. It's the 10-person lineup with the designated player, but Skylar Rigby, the catcher, leads it off for Ballard in this lineup. And if you look at Rigby, she's hitting .405 out of the leadoff spot. The catcher in the leadoff spot. That'll be
that's interesting.
An interesting lineup to put together. But at third base is Rachel Newell. She will bat second. The third batter is the pitcher, Abby Carlin, so the DP will not hit for the pitcher. The second baseman is Isabel Hobbs, batting in a cleanup spot. 5-hitter first baseman Maggie Larson. The left fielder, Carly Ehrenholtz, is batting in the 6th spot. Batting 7th is the designated player, Hannah Elliott, and Elliott will hit for the center fielder, Carly Wilson. Batting 8th is Bella Johnson, the shortstop, and the 9-hitter is the right fielder, Jenna Moody. So that is Ballard's lineup, and again, you mentioned Ballard being able to score some runs. They've done a lot of good things. They had a couple of shutouts, 18-0 and 7-0, and they won 11-5 over Carlisle in the quarterfinal of the state tournament. Then there's the Charles City Comets, the 33-6 Charles City Comets out of the Northeast Iowa Conference. Head coach Brian Bolin puts together this starting lineup. It's a 9-person lineup, no designated player in the starting lineup for Charles City. The center fielder is Peyton Reams. She will lead things off. The catcher in the top of that order again. This is the second hitter, Sienna Sonberg. You just don't see that a lot.
You don't.
Maybe you do at the I cover more of that at the NCAA level, but don't see it a lot at that level at all. But the third baseman in batting third is Taylor Schmidt. The left fielder, Sarah Martin, bats in the cleanup spot. Bailey Mitchell is the shortstop, batting in the 5 spot. The first baseman, Chantel Van Houen, bats in the 6th spot. The pitcher, Sammy Hare, bats 7th. The 8-hitter is the second baseman, Madeline Peters. And Elizabeth Feiser is the right fielder, batting 9th for Charles City. And again, a Charles City squad who beat Independence and Benton to get here and then put together a 5-4 upset over number 2 Fairfield in the opening round of the state tournament.
Yeah, both of these teams, Ballard, you and I have seen.
I've seen over the years. Yeah, we faced them a lot when I was in high school.
And from the softball standpoint and the football standpoint, everything, we know Ballard very, very well. Some of the names start ringing a bell as I start saying them again. But let's talk about Charles City and the keys for this thing, because as far as the first key to this one's probably been kind of the theme for them as they've went through this tournament. Embrace that underdog role. Beating Benton Community is a great, great thing for them. 3-2, and now that they're here and they've knocked off Fairfield 5-4, now they've got to be saying, you know what? I don't want to play as the underdog role. I want to make this thing. We're here. We're good enough to be in this position. Why not us?
Well,
I agree with that.
Well, when you beat number 1 Benton, you feel like you can beat anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
And why not? They obviously were able to put it together in the opening round, and now let's see what they can do against Ballard.
You bet. And then that second key for Charles City, and this is, again, folks, this is only Zach and I putting our heads together and kind of running down what we see. Let your stars shine the brightest, and that's Sarah Martin, hitting .471 to lead this team. As she goes, they will go, and it's very similar to what Winterset is with Johnson. It was as she goes, we go. Let your stars be your stars and ride that wave. And if you're Ballard, it's the young blood. 4 freshmen and an 8th grader start, 25 runs in the regional tournament. That's a hitting machine.
11 more in the opening round.
So you're talking 36 runs in 3 games. That's 12 a game,
That's
folks.
a young, athletic Ballard team. Don't put anything past their power and their offense, what they can do in this game.
And then, obviously, it's the one in the circle that in all of that you and I have talked about, that this girl is pretty special. She drives this bus or this car, however you want to say it. She's the starting pitcher, Abby Carlin, and she's hitting .427 on the season. This young lady does it all.
That's why she's hitting third.
and you got to run with her. You got to let her be special today. And really, honestly, you let both of the stars from both of these teams be special for the next 2 days and ride that wave. And either one of these teams has a chance to be a state champion. So we're going to take care of this second lineup, or a second semifinal game, as the Charles City Comets and the Ballard Bombers get ready to do battle. So, Zach, as you and I are sitting here, we're getting ready. They're running through the starting lineups right now. We've already done that. Let us take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we'll be ready for first pitch action. Hang on with us, folks, as we get ready for game number 2 here on Diamond 2.
Work, play, and everything in between. Stay cool with Carhartt from G&L Clothing. High-performance jackets, tees, and shorts. Whatever you do, you'll be more comfortable in Carhartt. Find it all at the Carhartt store inside G&L Clothing.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we ready to
Welcome back here to the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network, as both teams have now been introduced. And I think we're ready to roll. So Coach Charlie Husick for the Bombers, Coach Brian Bolin for the Comets, as Charles City will be, I believe they are the home team today here. They are in the dark black and orange. They got black uniforms, orange trim. Ballard in their grays, which are actually really cool. I gotta say, I like the gray. And then with their red trim and white numbers. So we're set. Let's run around the defensive alignment here for Charles City. It will be in the circle, Hare. Behind the plate will be Carlin. Sundberg. Third base, Mitchell. Shortstop is Schmidt. Peters and Van Howen. See if I can make sure I say that name right. At first base. Left to right here. Left field is Martin. Center field, Reams. And Pfizer in right field. Had to make sure she was out there. I was looking for a player. I didn't see they're not in their normal outfield positions yet. So the toss to second is done, and we are ready for softball here. Leading off for Ballard, number 25, your catcher, Skylar Rigby, hitting .405 on the season for the Bombers. Winner meets winner set tomorrow at 10:10 for the Class 4A championship. First pitch, high and away, 1-0 the count. And we'll see what kind of tone set Rigby does for Ballard here.
Yeah, that's going to be what it comes down to, finding that strike zone early, figuring out what Mike Vosier's strike zone is going to be as well.
You bet.
Behind the plate.
So 2-0 quickly here on Rigby. Hare stepping back in, fires. And we're 3-0 already here to start this Class 4A semifinal, game number 2. Stay with us. We've got 3A and 1A coming up. The pitch in there, called strike, 3-1.
Rigby's walked a team high 29 times this year. This is a team that's walked just shy of 130 times on the season. It's a patient offense.
Very patient. And she draws the walk there. So leadoff walk for Ballard. That's going to bring up your third baseman, number 10, Rachel Newell, hitting .340 on the season. And an interesting concept is they ran the armbands here. Know what they're calling for their offensive set. Looks like she's going to get the bunt down, but she slaps one up, and then she is out as the catcher, Sundberg, makes the play.
Saw that a lot in the first semifinal game, too, and the ability to not be able to get the bunts down.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of bunts go up in the air in that opening one, and then obviously here from Newell as well.
And then here now is number 1, your pitcher, Abby Carlin. Ball gets away, gets in the dirt as Rigby moves up to second on the pass ball. So 1-0 the count here to Carlin. Yeah, that's going to be wild. Yeah. Wild pitch, pass ball, whichever one we want to call that one.
Well, officially that would go down as a wild pitch and be charged to Hare.
Yep. There's a big swing, well, half a cut, basically. I thought she was going to cut it loose, and she kind of held back. Pitch in there for a strike, 1-1 now. Carlin stepping back in. Rigby at second base. Ball low and away. So quickly here, 2-1 is they're kind of working, kind of gingerly a little bit with Carlin. Not really doing much yet. One down in the inning here. As Hare gets ready to fire. A swing and a drive out to left field. Martin camps under and squeezes it up for out number 2. So now 2 down in the inning as it'll bring up Isabel Hobbs, your second baseman, number 5, hitting .387 here on the season. Trying to scratch across a run here for Ballard.
And Hare trying to work around that leadoff walk. That's a tough thing to do.
Are we going to finally see this percentage come down?
To do.
This one gets away. As we are having all kinds of fun here. We're going to see how this, if we're going to get.
There's a lot to be determined here.
We're going to get an interference call, I got to believe. And she's going to score, yes.
So she's going to score on interference at third base.
On an interference on third base. So you'll get the, so Rigby will score.
So yeah, you can't obstruct there to try to block her way. It was not intentional by any means, but she was in the way.
Yep, she was in
Schmidt over at third base to try to let her score, unable to do it, and that's the right call. The umpire is doing a good job of making sure they get that right, and they did.
Yep, because one thing you've watched Ballard do here, and I've watched them for many years, and they're aggressive on the base pass, so when they round, they're coming down. So that was what she was doing as she was trying to come down the line to see where the ball was.
Yeah, that ball kind of kicked away even further once it got to the backstop on a second wild pitch. So a couple of wild pitches from the sophomore Hare. That was
right.
Too straight to
there's a swing,
allow the runner to go.
This one's going to find pay dirt as it hits down, and a big turn by Hobbs gets the ball back in, does the left field Martin. But she does have a single with the 2 outs. 1-0 here in favor of Ballard.
And that's the first hit for the Bombers.
Yep.
They know how to strike first. They put up 3 runs in that first inning in the win over Carlisle in the opening round, and they've been putting up runs like crazy. So this offense
this is nothing new.
Hasn't shown any signs of slowing down.
It's going to bring up Maggie Larson, your first baseman, hitting .340 on the season. They definitely get their cuts.
And that's why the wild pitches are really going to hurt you. This offense is good enough. You don't want to give them extra chances to move runners up 60 feet, and then all of a sudden a couple of wild pitches moves Rigby to third and interference. Those are the things you cannot have if you're Charles City in this game.
Yeah, already down 1-0 with a runner on first, but you do have 2 outs in the inning. Big swing and a miss by Larson.
That one was way up in the zone. Nice pitch, nice elevation by Hare there to get a swing way up and out of the zone.
Absolutely love when they work above the hands and being the pitcher. And there's another one, and it got her the same. So a strikeout to end the inning, but not before Ballard strikes with 1 run on 1 hit. Interference call at third base.
Not an error, though.
No, not an error, but just the interference at third base, and it was 1 left on. So after 1/2 inning to play, your score 1-0 in favor of the Bombers. And it will be Charles City coming to bat. It's going to be Peyton Reams, Sienna Sundberg, and Taylor Schmidt, your 1, 2, 3 hitters here. As Carlin will hop on the mound here. The lefty. It's the first lefty we've got to see today, Zach.
Well, I'm interested to watch Abby Carlin do some things. We finally get to see a southpaw on the rubber, so I'm looking forward to that.
We've seen our share, huh? Over our lifetime of watching softball. A couple names come to mind.
Well, yeah.
A couple Lowry sisters I do remember, one being Paige. But it is fun to watch. Tell you what, Rigby's got an arm. That was from her knees.
This is a good battery for Ballard. I think that's going to be something fun to watch too. Obviously, the wild pitches from Hare with Sundberg back there.
Yep.
That didn't help them. That's where it starts, is the pitching and fundamentals behind the plate, and then your defense works from there. Pitching and defense win you championships at all levels, including this one.
And I'll run around your starting defensive alignment here for Ballard. Newell at third, Johnson at short, Hobbs at second, Larson at first, Carlin and Rigby your pitcher-catcher, and then Aaron Holtz, Wilson, and Moody. As we get started here in the bottom half, as Charles City will send to the plate, Peyton Reams. 323 on the season for the center fielder. Takes the first pitch in there for a ball. A swing and a fly ball out to center fielder as Wilson camps underneath it for out number 1. So quickly 1 out here in the inning.
So we'll kind of see what type that we're going to find out here. We saw a lot of strikeouts
out of
with,
the first
with Alexis Group from Oskaloosa. But we saw a lot of pitching to contact from Winterset in that first game. So we'll see if it's more power or if we're going to see a lot more contact and outs that way in this game.
So the first pitch from Carlin is a strike in there to Sundberg. Lefty fires. Strike 2 quickly ahead. 0-2 here on Sundberg.
Sundberg hitting .427, having a really good year at the plate for the Comets.
That one outside for a ball. 1-2 here, 1 down in the inning. 1-0 your score here if you're just joining us as Ballard is ahead.
Second on the team with 5 long balls as well.
So a little bit of pop in the bat, huh? The pitch. That one is high for ball 2. So 2-2 here. As Ballard, they get every pitch is called from their dugout. So you'll see Carlin step back every time. And there's a line out from Sundberg to Johnson for out number 2. But you'll see Carlin step back to the back of the circle. She gets her call, and then she looks on her arm for a sleeve, and then she
you'll
goes.
actually see all 9 players
do the same thing.
Look for not just the pitch, but positioning, whatever play they want to make defensively. They'll move them around. That was a nice job of positioning Johnson to be right where she was for that line out. She was able to move a step to her left to make the catch. You'll see that a lot. After every pitch, they'll all look to the dugout.
That's going to bring up your shortstop, number 1, Taylor Schmidt. .462 on the season for the young lady. And as you know, you're running down these offensive numbers here for Charles City. They have impressive numbers as a team hitting, and they're going to need it all today. They're facing a pretty good one in Abby Carlin here. You know, we're running down .471 and .330. .307 is low on the scene, and that's awesome for most teams. I'd take .307. I might still be playing someday.
Right. Well, this is a game where if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're doing well.
Yeah. So. 2-1 the count here now on Schmidt. Yeah, and you're right. As you're watch their defense set. They look down, they see what they want, and there's the pitch that is high on the off speed. 3-1. Yeah, it really was. Change of pace there. So 3-1 with 2 down here in the bottom half of the first inning here for Charles City. Comes the pitch. A swing and a pop-up as your shortstop Johnson takes that one. And she handled 2 of the 3 outs for the Ballard Bombers, and that ends the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. And we're going to move to the second inning here, top of the second. Ballard will come to bat as it will be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. It'll be Aaron Holtz, Elliott, and Johnson coming up, and we'll kind of reset their defense. I didn't really get I kind of ran through both their defenses pretty quickly. They're set anyway, but you know, you were talking earlier about the shortstop, or I'm sorry, their pitcher, the sophomore Hare, and you kind of ran through some of her numbers, and you know, something that was really kind of cool though. You look at this this pitching staff, pretty young. You know, a junior, sophomore, and freshman. Those are pretty good. You got a pretty good nucleus even for the next couple of years for them. And even, you know, and then you look at Ballard's. Ballard's is the same way. You lose Carlin, obviously, being a senior, but you got Elliott's who had 13 starts on the season. This youth movement for Ballard and for Charles City is pretty good.
Yeah, it's something we're actually seeing a lot of around the state at these teams that have made it here.
Is it the next game that we're going to have with Davenport?
A lot of 3A schools also are very young. You never know. But an update from Diamond 1. Urbandale's got a 1-0 lead on Pleasant Valley in that semifinal in Class 5A.
All right. So first pitch here to to Carly Aaron-Holtz. The left fielder takes the first pitch in there for a strike. That one gets behind her. 1-1 count here. Hitting .356 is the left fielder here for Ballard.
That would move me off the plate a little bit.
I think I would have went the other way. That one got in behind. 1-1 here. The count to Aaron-Holtz. The pitch. There's a swing. Fouled straight back. She was on that one.
It's another sophomore, Aaron-Holtz. You mentioned hitting .356, slugging .425. She's got 4 extra base hits, driven in 16. Another youngster who's contributed greatly to this offense for the Bombers.
Pitch coming from Hare. Swing and a miss. Goes down swinging for out number 1 here to start the top of the second. So Hare kind of settling down after giving up that run on some weird stuff.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at it, Hobbs got the base hit, so there might have been a run anyway. But the wild pitches is what moved Rigby up. You know, just a walk, and then ended up going to second and to third, and then obviously the interference.
There's a swing, a ground ball to Schmidt, and Hannah Elliott beats it out. It was deep in the hole at the shortstop position, and Schmidt fired across and was not able to get her.
It's a nearly impossible play. I mean,
in softball,
good luck
tough.
trying to make that play. Mitchell had a really tough chance to try to get that out.
No, that was Schmidt, the shortstop. I believe. I don't know. I got one, you got the other. I'm not sure which one it is. Let's see here. No, I am wrong. She's not the shortstop. Schmidt is the third baseman. You were correct, sir.
Talk about this defensive alignment. There's 5 people in the infield here for Charles City. And
they're going to throw down, and she is safe. She slides in behind.
Oh, my goodness.
On a stolen base, gets to second. And you're right. This is a really interesting line. They're taking their right fielder and bringing her in. She's playing second. Let's see if we can call this.
That's the right call at second base. That slide got underneath that tag.
There's your slap. It goes up the middle. And she beats it out.
Oh, my goodness. So it's a stolen base for Elliott and then an infield hit for Johnson.
Yep. And Elliott slides to third. But you're moving your right fielder against a lefty hitter? Really? That's tough.
Well,
that was an interesting alignment.
I think that they do the scouting and you know that this player, they're going to hit it to the left side, a slap kind of style, or, you know, you're going to pitch outside.
Right.
So you're going to make sure that you're not leaving anything over the heart of the plate or inside to turn on it. And she tried to actually do her best to not hit it to that left side, hit it back up the middle, and she was actually able to beat it out. Good piece of hitting from Johnson.
So it's going to bring up your number 9 hitter, number 12, Moody, and Ballard's going to squeak one across, and then you got her going to third, and she is safe. So
oh my,
a lot of running going on. Elliott on the pass ball.
I think that one's got to go down as a pass ball because that hit off the catcher's. That
looked like a pass ball. Bella Johnson ends up on third, and she just didn't stop running. So, and let me catch you folks up.
Because that was a very catchable ball back there behind the plate. You got to make that catch.
This is your right fielder, number 12, Jenna Moody, hitting .228 on the season. And, Zach, you will become very familiar with this young lady as she is a Upper Iowa signee coming in to play softball there. You'll be calling her games next year.
Should be a lot of fun coming up to Fayette. Playing for the Peacocks.
So Ballard squeaks one across there after the pass ball as Elliott scored. Bella Johnson just kept on her wheels. There's a great bunt from Moody, and she beats it out and scores Johnson. And all of a sudden, Ballard up 3-0 quickly here.
That's a bunt for a hit.
Yeah, that's a single.
That's a bunt for a hit. That's a well-placed bunt. You couldn't have rolled that thing out there any better than Moody did right there, and her speed.
That young lady's quick.
Able to beat that out. That's one thing when I talked about. I've done some scouting on her myself, and that's one thing I noticed is that Jenna Moody can run very well, and She's able to get to first there, so Ballard is cooking here these first couple innings.
Yep, scored 2 already, got 1 down, and they're heading back to the top of the inning here with Rigby.
I don't think we've seen a ball get to the outfield, except for Hobbs' single in the first inning. The 3 hits in this second frame have all been infield hits for Ballard. They know who they are. They've got their speed, and they can beat them out for singles.
Rigby, this one does go to right field, though. That bounces off of your right fielder visor. That is a single. And that moves Moody all the way around to third.
And that will be
a single.
That'll be a single and an error to let the runner go to third.
Yep, that's an E9 on the air. Whoops, sorry, error 9.
So that is, and despite that, it's the only true error so far in this game.
Well, and absolutely probably the most solid hit ball.
I mean, but if you're Charles City, there's been a lot of mistakes. 3 wild pitches, pass ball.
Yep.
That error in right field. I mean, there's been a lot of things that just haven't gone their way defensively.
We'll see if we're going to get. I was just going to say we're going to see if we're going to get Rigby moving, and we are. And I can see why now she is. In the top. She's quick.
I mean, this Ballard
Solid
team
hitting.
has stolen over 80 bases this season.
This will bring up Rachel Newell as she takes the pitch. She's looking like she was sliding the hands up to take a bunt as well.
Almost another mistake just on the throwback to the circle. Charles City just, I think, just trying to calm some nerves a little bit, kind of relax and get into the game, ebbs and flows of the game a little bit.
So you got Schmidt moving in at third, anticipating the bunt.
Yeah, you can't really get any closer.
No, she's in on right in on the hands.
She's got more guts than I do.
Yeah, I don't. I would never even want to play that position.
More importantly, though,
3-1 the count here.
Right.
Hayer is getting behind.
You got to find
Newell.
a way to throw a strike.
So if you're Newell here, I mean, I know it's 3-1. You might be swinging away on this one. See if maybe you can just drive a ball.
I would put the bunt down.
To put her the bunt, and she's going to take the strike. 3-2.
Now you probably swing away, but if she could have laid that down to the right side, another run would have scored for sure.
Well, as you're looking at the defensive alignment, you're moving in Schmidt, but Van Hayden, she's staying behind the bag. That spot's open over there, and she does get it down, and that ball is caught. Great play by Hayer.
No, actually, that ball did hit the ground.
Oh, it did get under the glove?
That popped out of the glove, and that dropped. That is a hit.
Yeah, it is.
If you have to leave your, the rule that I have kind of grown to know is if you dive for a play and you can't make it, you can't credit an error on that. It has to go down as a hit.
That thing was really hard to tell. I didn't
that
realize
thing
it
had
got under it.
Well,
that
so thing had so much backspin to it that even one that was about to hit the glove, it just barely hit the outside of the leather and then it dropped to the ground. It kind of resulted in a trap. Knowing that, the base runners thought that was caught, so they jumped back to the bag, which is actually the smart play, but they would have scored.
So here's the best part of that play, though. How about a gutsy bunt with 2 strikes?
Well,
that's pretty good stuff.
Right.
So that's going to bring up Abby Carlin as this inning continues for Ballard, and they really got Charles City in a tough spot here because you're bringing in, you got one of your best hitters in Class 4A in Abby Carlin up. Bases are juiced, and the infield now is going to play in. Everybody's playing in front of the bags.
The throw has to come home with just one out.
You got to cut it down.
7th hitter of the inning for Ballard.
And Carlin turns on one and sent one down the third base line. 1-2 on this young lady, though. If she puts something in through the infield, this thing could be getting rough here. See if she's going to be able to turn on a ball. Get it through the right side, maybe.
No, I don't think they're going to let her. I think they're going to throw it outside. I think you have to make sure she hits this to the left because it's such an easier play. If you can get a ground ball to third, then you can fire home and easily get it out.
And she takes a swing, drives it down the left field line, and out of play.
Even if that is playable, I don't think you want to catch it.
No, because you're giving up at least
one. I don't
one.
think you want to catch that ball. Yeah, that's an easy run for Ballard if they catch that in foul territory running away from home plate.
And you probably on that would move up your runners.
Easily move up. I think all 3 would probably move up.
So let's see what happens here with Hayer. She's trying to figure out how to get around Carlin here. 2-2 the count one out here in the inning, and another ball shot down the left.
This is a great idea from Carlin. She's trying to elevate and get the ball in the air. If you're Hare, you want to make sure you get a ground ball here, and you want to keep this low in the zone to try to get her on top of that ball.
Ideal would be right back to her. Hare would love to take this pitch.
Yeah, right.
Take the ball back to her. There's a swing. This one's going to get out of play as well. This has been quite a battle between Carlin and Hare.
She's leaving that ball up a little bit, though. Then that's allowing Carlin to get underneath it or at least put the ball, drive it in the air. It's the last thing you want her to do is to drive this ball.
The other side, where in my mind, would be Sundberg has to be real big here for Charles City in the catcher's position. There's a swing. That one foul ball as well.
That's the perfect pitch in that spot because she's swinging at a pitch she really can't do much with. And so even if she makes contact, it's going to be weak contact.
Right.
You want to at least get the out.
But
ideally, you want to get the out at home.
What an inning setting up here for Ballard. There's Carlin, and that, like I said, Sundberg's got to be able to get it.
Yep, there it is.
And that ball got away. That one's going to be a wild pitch. That one's a tough one. And then everybody moves up as well. So now you have Rigby at third, Newell at second.
And it looks like Charles City is still going to put the corners in a little bit because if you get a ground ball there, you want to see if you can go home with it. Anything up the middle, you're going to just have to get the out at first.
Here comes the pitch to Carlin. And she swings on another foul ball. This young lady, that's got to be 6 or 7 probably. But another run across.
Oh, foul ball, that's a dead ball, so they can't do anything with that.
Another run across right now. We're sitting at 4-0 here in favor to Ballard. And they're not done yet. So Carlin's still at bat here.
Well, this is a postseason to remember for the Bombers. They've put up 36 runs in their first 3 games of the postseason, and well,
could be.
They're not done yet.
No, not yet. Only one out here in the inning as we're just working to the top of the second. But you've got Rigby at third, Newell at second, and Abby Carlin stepping back in. 3-2 the count here on her. She swings another foul ball.
This is quite the at-bat.
I do hope we have enough balls here in the stadium because, good Lord.
Fighting them off, and she knows what she wants to do. Her goal is to hit a fly ball.
Yeah, and she's been she's going to draw the walk. And a great job by Sundberg to go get that one, but Carlin does draw the walk. So now with the bases juiced again, this is going to bring up Isabella Hobbs. You're going to have a pinch runner, number 14 for Ballard.
It's Maddie Kyle.
Maddie Kyle. So a pinch runner. And it's going to bring up Isabella Hobbs, number 5, the second baseman. Hitting .387, and she singled her first at bat. So now corner's still in here. I assume same thought process. You got to cut it down at home first.
I think they're going to bring. I'd bring the entire infield in, but it doesn't look
they're
like
sitting back.
Shortstop's playing normal with Mitchell, but Peters is playing baseline.
Yep, she's playing baseline. Mitchell is sitting back just enough.
Yeah,
there's a swing, and that one's going to be fly out to Peters. And that's the second out in the inning here. That's a big out.
Yeah, it would have been an infield fly anyway.
Right. But that's a big out for Hare. So Larson's going to step in. Strikeout victim, her first at bat.
Oh, 9th batter of the inning for Ballard.
Boy, if you're Hare, you want to get through this one. That one's a wild pitch. That ball gets away from everybody.
They're gonna score 2.
Nope, she is going to be down. Out at home. As Newell tries to score, and she is out.
And so she will go out 2-1.
2-1. Yep. But Rigby scores as well. 4 runs on 1, 2.
I got 5 hits in the inning.
I've got 5 hits in the inning, but
I've also got one legitimate error. Yeah,
yep,
just one
error.
Legitimate error.
And then 2 left on for Ballard. But not before they bring 9 to the plate. Because Larson actually. Yep, 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, 2 left.
I don't ever want to be official.
So we've got that figured out up here in the box between about 9 of us. We've got it figured out that it was 4 runs and 5 hits.
We'll put it together.
We got it together. That's teamwork up here.
That's one of the more unique innings I think I've seen in a long time. 8 batters. Just one time did the ball get into the outfield. I think that's the unique part about this inning. And they were able to score 4 runs off of this. A Ballard team that just used speed. And they got a lot of help, though, from Charles City. Not in the fact that they made a lot of errors that count on the scorecard, but the wild pitches and the pass balls, the stuff that moves up runners. They've scored a couple of runs already. I think 3 of their 5 runs have been via the wild pitch. So that hurts you. Fortunately for Charles City, they were able to get out of the inning with that last runner not being able to come home to score. Otherwise, this could be 6-0 and Ballard still be batting. So
yes,
a very unique inning for sure. You don't see that a lot.
Well, and actually what it's going to do is Maggie Larson will come back to lead off. She was the batter of record when that 3rd out happened. She'll come back and lead off the 3rd for Ballard.
They sent 8 to the dish.
Yep. So we're going to head over here to Charles City, and things just have to settle down for this team more than anything. So you're going to have Sarah Martin, your left fielder, number 16, hitting .471 on the season. They just got to see something positive happen. So 1-0, the pitch. Outside 2-0 as Carlin starts off 2-0 here to Sarah Martin.
And what seems like forever ago, Carlin worked to 1-2-3 first.
It does seem like forever ago. There's a swing, and that one will be gone. Sarah Martin, a home run. And it's great to see Charles City see something positive.
Let's see if that can start some momentum a little bit. I'm obviously down 5-0, now 5-1. But good piece of hitting from Martin.
That thing
good
got
piece
off
of
the
hitting.
bat and was launched.
It was outstanding. I mean, it just jumps off of her bat. I mean, that was really good work from the cleanup hitter. I mean, that's her team-leading 13th homer of the season.
1 bounce to the fence.
Oh, that one was out of here when it left the bat. I mean, that was
impressive hitting. Now, Bailey Mitchell. Foul ball straight back at us. And another nice catch.
You bet. We got some athletic fans here.
Well, we're seeing all the defense in the stands here. All the defense in the stands.
See if we can get maybe we'll get like a fan slow pitch game going or something.
Absolutely.
Later on tonight. How about that?
Grab some of these ladies' gloves. We'll play.
All-star fan game. I don't know.
Big swing in the midst. Quickly 0-2. So Carlin settling down after giving up the home run as Bailey Mitchell. 404 on the season here. Stepping in. The pitch outside.
That's a good miss. It's a pitcher's pitch right there.
You're not too caring about where it ends up, but if you can get her to chase, that's just great stuff.
You're going to miss, but she doesn't miss by a lot. So you're making the batter think, throughout the entire at bat.
The pitch, ground ball right back to Carlin. She fields the position. Great job by her. 1-3 on the putout as out number 1. So we're sitting with 1 out here in the bottom of the second as Charles City has scratched the scoreboard on a Sarah Martin home run. And when it left the bat, you knew.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to bring up Van Howen, Chantel Van Howen, the first baseman. 307 on the year here for batting average.
So Ballard making their first trip to Fort Dodge since they were the 3A champs back in 2012.
Ball hit out to left field. Aaron Holt squeezes it up for out number 2. And that's going to bring up your pitcher, Sammy Hare.
But this,
number
I would
2.
say, is one of Ballard's, probably one of their more talented teams
This
they've
is
had.
loaded. They're loaded.
Over there in Huxley, and it's been.
And they've had some really incredible softball teams. So to say that
they had some really good 3A squads.
They really
yeah.
did. They had some good 3A squads back in the day, because that always seemed to be the battle with them.
And they were champs 5 years ago.
So Sammy Hare takes that first pitch, 1-0 to her.
And then the classes started expanding. You know, you
Yes.
got the big 4As that moved up to 5, the big 3s that moved up to 4, and now they've really grown.
Yeah, and you know, a school like
softball.
Ballard, I don't know where they fall in that. If they're in the upper 4s, ready to move to 5s, you know, you got some schools out there that are. You know, then you have teams like Indianola that, you know, they play in the Little Hawkeye Conference, but they're a 5A school. 1-2 the count here on Hare. 2 down in the inning after the leadoff home run from Martin. And Carlin trying to settle it to just the 1 run. The pitch. Leaves it high for a ball, 2-2.
Pretty good first season for head coach Charlie Husak. Has made things happen in this first year for Ballard.
2-2. Hey, there's your deuces. There's that swing foul ball. So we'll leave it right here. 2-2, 2-2. Second inning, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. Here comes the pitch from Carlin. And goes down, look in, does Hare. So after the leadoff home run, a 1-2-3 inning after that. So 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. We will be right back after these messages, and we'll get ready to start the top of the 3rd, Ballard and Charles City.
Work, play, and everything in between. Stay cool with Carhartt from G&L Clothing. High-performance jackets, tees, and shorts. Whatever you do, you'll be more comfortable in Carhartt. Find it all at the Carhartt store inside G&L Clothing.
G&L Clothing.
That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools. Asks you to call 811 before you dig. Have annual furnace inspections. And be aware of hazards at home. Mid-American Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy.
Welcome back to the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network, as we are getting ready for the top of the 3rd here, as we have Maggie Larson will be stepping back in here for Ballard. It'll be Larson, Aaron Holtz, and Elliott. 5-1 your score, as Ballard scored 1 in the first, 4 in the second. On as Zach said it right, it was probably a unique inning, if you will, for the scoring on how Ballard did that.
I haven't seen
one couple of hits here and there, but everything was pretty much on the infield. So we're going to see Larson step in, up 5-1, as Hare will get back to work here. The pitch, first pitch outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count here. The pitch. 2-0 now here to Larson. So 2-0 quickly to Larson. As she's hitting 340 on the season. Big swing and a miss right there. 2-1 now the count. Top of the 3rd here in the second of the Class 4A semifinals. The winner to meet Winterset at 10:10 tomorrow morning for the Class 4A state championship. 2-2 now here to Larson.
Larson struck out looking in the first.
And didn't have an official at bat here in that second inning.
I think she stepped in for maybe the 1 pitch, and it turned out to be a wild pitch. And then
yeah, there's a swing.
The
Ball
out at
hit
home.
straight up in the air. We're going to see another fan try to get. Nope, that one they didn't get. So 2-2 will stay right there with that count. As Ballard has kept the offense rolling here.
Well,
So,
that one dropped in the stands, so we won't have them on the All-Star team.
our first person not playing. There's a pitch, a little off speed, but Larson
It's a
able
good
to hold
pitch, though.
back right there.
It's a good pitch and even better take by
So now you're
Larson.
Full count here on Larson.
Hitting 340 this year. She's having a really good year at the plate.
There's a swing that popped up to Mitchell for out number 1. So 1 down here in the inning. That will bring up your left fielder, number 8, Carly Ehrenholtz, hitting 356. Struck out her first time looking, or her first at bat. She actually got that first out, and then everything happened. First pitch in there, called strike.
She's driven in 16 this year. On base of 467. She's taken 15 walks. We mentioned this team's patient. They'll take their walks, and we've seen that a few times from Charles City and from Hayer. You know, when she misses, it's been the ones that have skipped in and gotten away from the catcher a few different times in this game.
That off speed missed inside. This one gets away inside as well. So sitting at 2-1 to Ehrenholtz. Elliott on deck here for Ballard. That one stays up high inside. So 3-1 now here to Ehrenholtz. And I think if you're Charles City, just getting Ballard runners on is really just put their defense in such a tough predicament.
Yeah, because then if you do miss on a pitch and it gets past, then all of a sudden they're moving up 60 feet again, and you just don't want that to happen. And we've seen a lot of inconsistency from Hayer in this game so far, but if she can try to work through this third inning and try to just settle down a little bit, maybe her offense will try to get her back in the game. But right now, Ballard pretty much in command of this one.
You betcha. That ball was fouled straight back for strike 2. So full count here to Ehrenholtz.
But that's been Ballard's MO, is just getting out in front early in games and then just putting the pedal down and seeing if you can try to recover. And it just hasn't happened. These teams, I mean, you talk about the 18-0 game and
7-0 on the regional final.
7-0 in the regional final, and then the 11-5, and it was 11-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning before Carlisle put across 3 more runs to make it look a little bit better than 11-2. But the game really wasn't close at all.
That was ball 4 for Ehrenholtz, so she draws the walk, and that's going to bring up Hannah Elliott. We're going to have a pinch runner here. Kate Reitz. So now after the 1-out walk, it'll be Hannah Elliott, number 13, your designated player today here for Ballard.
So Ballard, to be honest, has really not had any type of pressure that they've faced yet in the postseason.
True.
They've just really been in cruise mode, and right now you're seeing that same type of thing. That'll be the challenge. Can Charles City put some type of pressure on this Ballard team and see how this young team would go? But right now they're just young and just playing and playing really, really well.
And I think it's that young and just playing mode that's really that's what's propelled these guys. They don't. There's a good pitch right there. 1-1 the count here to Elliott. But you're right. We don't think about it. We're just going to go. And if something happens, we'll just keep playing. It doesn't matter.
You see it at a lot of levels. Too young to know better, right? They don't know pressure yet. They haven't had to worry about it.
Never felt it. There's a good bunt laid down right back to Hayer, and she gets that. And a good job of recovering was Schmidt. 1-3 from Hayer to Van Houen for out number 2. But I tell you what, you could see even all that. Their third baseman charged, and she had to recover because you were looking, and Reitz was ready to go to third. So even on the bunt, they're looking to go first to third. That's just an excellent job. So now that's going to bring up Bella Johnson, and here comes that wild shift again. You got Pfizer coming in, and she's playing behind or just off to the right of second, and you've got your second baseman, Peters, in. And there's a swing and a miss by Johnson. 0-1 here.
It's like bringing in a rover. I mean,
It really is. Yeah, you're correct. Nobody on the rest of the outfield is in their positions. Reams in center and Martin in left. So if she does turn on one and is able to get it through, she's going to run for a while if she could get one through that hole. 0-2 quickly here to Johnson.
Yeah, if she punches one into right field, that's a backfire of colossal proportions. So that would be more than likely an inside the park home run.
That pitch outside and low.
And if you pitch this correctly, you're not going to have that happen. She's going to hit it to the left side. You're not going to pitch one. You're not going to throw a fastball in her half of the plate and let her turn on it. You can't do that.
Because if you do, that's trouble. 1-2 now, or 2-2 now. Deuce is wild again here in the top of the top of the third here. Johnson, ground ball to the shortstop. Quick bobble, gets across, then gets her a great play.
Wow.
By Van Houen.
How about that stretch, huh?
6-3 on the put out for the third out of the inning. Only the one walk, but no runs. No hits, no errors, one left on. We're going to move to the bottom of the third. Your score, 5-1 in favor of Ballard over Charles City. Boy, Zach, I tell you what, that was impressive, though. That defensive alignment, you and I are just, the first time you've seen it, and we looked at it, we're like, holy moly, what do you got going on? Because your second baseman really isn't taking the gap away on the right side.
Well, the second baseman's coming in to pitcher level.
Yes.
So she's coming in to play anything that's slow roller towards that side. She can pick it up quicker, but they're bringing in the right fielder to play right next to the bag at second. Now, I think the first thought is when you see that, well, why would they do that against a left-handed batter? Well, they're going to do that against a lefty because you know that you scout this player. You know, hey, they're a slap hitter. They're going to push it left, and you're going to pitch outside anyway, so you know that the ball is going to the left side. They're not going to do that and then pitch it in her half to let her turn on a ball and put it into the right field corner, which would ineffectively be a home run at that point. So,
yep, and if you've seen how that alignment worked out, she did exactly that. She kept the ball in the outer half.
Right.
She slaps it to Mitchell.
Right.
Mitchell
they work on that so much that they know exactly what
It's
they need to do to execute in that situation.
It's quite an interesting setup, because you don't see it a lot. But we did actually, if you watched any of the World Series, the college World Series, you've seen that with Oklahoma. They ran a weird set up with a couple of
If you can execute with your pitchers, it's possible to do it and to set them up that way. Baseball, they have the shift. You see that a lot, and then you know where you're going to pitch. But, in softball, sometimes they'll bring in that extra, and they'll make it happen.
Gotcha. So we're going to jump to the bottom of the third. It's going to be number 3, Madeline Peters, the second baseman, leading off, hitting .333 on the season. Carlin back on the hill and ready to fire here as we start the bottom of the third. 5-1 in favor of Ballard. First pitch in there, called strike, 1-0. Or 0-1, I'm sorry. 0-1 to count here.
There's a 1 somewhere.
There is. And there, 1-1 now. 1-1 to count here on Peters. Second baseman, .333 on the season. Young lady trying to get it started here for Charles City. Outside.
And the wind is not going to affect with the ball today. Nope. It just really isn't. I mean, the wind's I think it's trying to pick up a little bit, but it just hasn't. It's been real steady, real light going from right to left.
Absolutely. So 2-1 the count. Pitch just on the outside edge. It does catch the edge. 2-2 the count here.
Pleasant Valley has jumped in front of Urbandale. 2-1 over there on the first diamond in 5A here at Fort Dodge.
And a swing and a miss. Called out. Strikeout. And that's the first for Carlin. As we move here, it's the second. I didn't write it down. I only wrote the third out there as she got Hare on the last one here. So now Pfizer stepping in.
Yeah, she got Hare looking in that second, and then Peters swinging here in the third.
There's a swing and a miss by Pfizer.
Way out in front there.
This young lady hitting .430 here on the season.
How about that from your 9-hitter?
That's a really good 9-hitter. Well, look at their bottom half: 6, 7, or 7, 8, 9, 333, 333, and 430. And that's why. That's why. Beats an infield single. She is quick to get down the line.
It's a lot of speed coming out of that left-handed batter's box, and obviously you're that much closer to the bag anyway. Then
slow rollers.
I mean, yeah, anything that is not a routine grounder, you're going to beat out for a hit.
So we're going to jump back to the top of the lineup. Peyton Reams flew out to center field her first time at bat. 323 for the center fielder here. One down, one on, one out. As Pfizer beats the infield single out. Now Charles City going to see if they can get something started here. Reams is setting to bunt. She gets it down, and this is a great bunt and a great play by Carlin. Fields the position well.
And I love the way, I mean, you have to bunt that to the left side because if she fields it, she has to turn completely around, being a left-handed pitcher, to field that and throw that all the way to first. But that's just a really nice job of fielding your spot by Carlin. Quick out of the circle there to grab it and then to turn and throw to first base. Really nice, really nicely done.
Cut that thing loose. That was good to see. So 2 down here in the inning. Runner on second is Pfizer. Brings up Sundberg, the catcher. First pitch outside. Hitting 427 on the season. And she has went yard 5 times for Charles City.
And I like that. You know, I like the bunt moving them up to second, but I don't know if I like that with 1 out already in the inning. You're down 4 runs, so I mean, at some point you're going to have to start getting base hits anyway. So you almost might as well try. I don't know. I think I would have kept the bat in your leadoff batter's hands and tried to see if Reams could get a hit. She's hitting over 320 on this season, so that would have been my thought process on that. But
the only other part of that is she that good of a bunter that she could beat them out? That was close play.
It's a good bunt.
So maybe that is part of her strategy as well, is she can lay it down and beat them out. I mean, it was a great defensive play by Carlin, obviously. 2-1 the count here. Here's a ground ball knocked down by Carlin, and she's going to work herself out of the inning. So a great job by her to field that position twice. And she was able to get 2 of those 3 outs. Actually, she struck out Peters. So that will end it. No runs. 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. That will do it through 3 innings. We'll be back right after this. We're going to take a couple take a break from our sponsors.
Trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa. Why do I look for the seal?
To everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up. Take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Welcome back here to the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network as we are heading to the top of the 4th. It will be Moody, Rigby, and Newell. 9-1-2 here for Ballard against Hare. 5-1 your score here as Moody steps in. First pitch. Called strike, 0-1 the count. So Hare doing her part, trying to keep Charles City close here as Ballard has jumped out to a 5-1 lead. Only inning they did not score in was the last one.
So yeah, they didn't score. It must have been, what's going on with their offense?
A line out, 2 ground outs, and a walk mixed in there, but weren't able to do anything.
See,
with
even when they don't score, they're putting pressure on you, though. That's what this offense has done.
Swing and a miss by Moody. Quickly down 0-2 here. The right fielder here for Ballard. Inside. Misses. 1-2 now. The pitch to Moody, high and away. 2-2 now here to Jenna. 228 on the season, the right fielder for Ballard. Swing and a pop-up in the infield. Second baseman Peters camps under for the out. So one down here in the inning. It brings it back to the top of the lineup. Skylar Rigby hit a single her last time, 1 for 1. Been on twice with the walk in the first. Scored 2 times so far in the game. Has a stolen base. Interference call on her. Here's the pitch. There's the bunt down. That's a good one. But great play by Sundberg to pop out and throw her out at first base. 2-3 on that put out. 2 outs here in the inning. It's going to bring up Rachel Newell, the third baseman. Hitting .340 on the season. Has a single her last at bat. 1 for 2 on the day is Newell. First pitch, outside corner from Hare, 0-1 the count.
The top couple of batters in this Bomber lineup have just created a lot. I mean, that's what, they're getting on base, and then they're creating havoc on the base paths as well.
That pitch outside. 1-1 your count here. Swing, foul ball. One and two down here in the inning as we work in the top of the fourth. Charles City down 5-1 here to Ballard.
And Hare looking for her first 1, 2, 3. She has yet to get through an inning without allowing a base runner.
2-2 now. Twos are wild. The pitch outside and high. He's going to bring it to a full count. Newell trying to work herself on here. Comes the pitch from Hare. Swing and a miss. Drop third, and she will be on first base. So Newell is on, even though she gets the strikeout. Ouch, just a drop third.
Third strikeout for Hare, but
gets her on first.
Results on first base anyway. It's just been that kind of game so far for Charles City. They can't.
Ball, drop third, 1 hit. No errors there, no runs. So we're going to stay at 5-1 your score. Carlin will be stepping back in the circle for Ballard. Coming up for Charles City, it'll be Schmidt, Martin, and Mitchell. As Sarah Martin will be getting her second crack at Carlin. But the only hit so far, actually, I take that back. There was Pfizer had a hit back in the bottom of the third for Charles City. So she's given up 2 hits, 1 run so far has Carlin. Finishes up and gets the throw down, and we'll be ready to roll here. So Taylor Schmidt will lead it off, the third baseman, hitting .462 on the season. Flew out to shortstop her first time at bat. Yeah, you gotta be curious if Ballard's thinking, where'd the offense go? Through 4, you were 5 runs in 2 innings, and then nothing the last 2.
But that's been their MO: jump out early and then just ride it out, hanging on and let the pitcher do the work without any pressure. I mean, that's where Carlin's at right now. She can just pitch instead of having to worry about keeping it a scoreless game, keeping it a 1-run game. She's been given a cushion.
Want to know the count here on Schmidt. Carlin fires. Outside, hits the corner. 1-1 now. Schmidt was trying to lean over like, really?
Yeah.
Here comes the pitch. Didn't get the corner this time. 2-1.
Yeah, that one left out just a little more. But a good pitch. A good 1-1 pitch.
Schmidt trying to be a leadoff here. 2-1 the count on her. Ground ball through the left side, and she does. A base hit by Taylor Schmidt. And here comes Charles City. Let's see if they're able to put something together here. It's going to bring up Sarah Martin. Last at bat. Drove one over the left center field fence for a home run.
See, I mean, Charles City is the more power offense. They can get the bat on the ball and drive it into gaps and get that way, but there's a lot of pressure on them to do that right now. See, if I'm Charles City, I'm not gonna be sacrificing a whole lot right now. You're down 4 runs. I don't think you want to give Ballard any outs, even if it's. I mean, just to move up 60 feet. I don't know that it's worth it in this case.
Right, and you're bringing up obviously the power middle part of the lineup here with the power side. Sarah Martin, obviously. So one swing and you could be right back in this thing. But if you're Carlin, you're gonna paint the outside here. You may not care if you do walk her. You don't want her to beat you here with one swing of the bat. So 5-1 Ballard lead. Here comes the pitch from Carlin. Swing and a drive down the left field fence. Almost takes out a camera.
Well, that one was up in the zone. She really kind of went up after that and tried to kind of chop it down a little bit. It was a really awkward swing, but she still got a lot of power out of it.
So 1-2 the count here to Martin. Runner on first to Schmidt after her single through the left side. The pitch. High and away. 2-2 your count now.
Martin's not one to get cheated, though, I will say. I mean,
no.
Something's going to come in there. If it's close, she's going to come after it.
Fun to watch. And there's a ground ball through the left side. Great job by the third baseman, Newell. And she was able to get the out on Martin. That was a great play by Newell. So 5-3. She was looking to try to get Schmidt. She couldn't get it, though.
Honestly, that's a good at-bat, though. I mean,
yes.
I thought that thing was going to roll through. Just a nice play by Newell to cut it off and then get that out at first.
This brings up Bailey Mitchell, the shortstop. Big swing and a miss, 0-1 the count. Hitting .404 here on the season. Throw down, trying to see if they could sneak one in behind Schmidt. Tell you what, she got a cannon back there. Every throw is from her knees, and she's pretty good. Here comes the pitch. Ground ball. Gets away from. Got away from Carlin. So
that's a lot happening there.
You got an E1 on the pitcher.
So it's got to go E1, and then.
It's just E1 on the pitcher.
Going over to third, and nearly a second error.
Could have been a second.
That could have scored for Charles City, but at least they got something going here. Now they can build some confidence with first and third and one out. Obviously, you want to make sure you at least get a run home here. You don't want to get into the fifth and sixth and still be down 4. You want to at least try to claw back into it a little bit. So if they could get a sac fly here, something in the air to the outfield, they might even try to steal and get a runner to second here. So we'll see. But
sure. No, well, that's what I'm thinking. At least you got to see that.
Or a squeeze of some sort to try to bunt, maybe try to get a run home. There's options here.
Yep.
If you're Charles City, and I think that's what Ballard's talking about right now. I think that's what Charlie Husak's coming out here and talking about is the strategy. Hey, if they bunt, this is what we need to do. If they get it to the outfield, maybe you let the run in and you make sure you don't get a runner tagging to go to second. There's lots of things to dissect here.
Yep, and
if you're head coach Charlie Husak.
That's going to bring up Chantel Van Houten, the first baseman, who she flew out her first at bat to left field. So if she can duplicate her action here, that's going to produce that run like you're saying. So we'll see what this does right here.
Yeah, this absolutely has to be a productive at bat if you're Charles City.
The least productive side is you do not want to strike out. You have got to put a ball in play.
Yeah, you want a ground ball to the right side, or you want something in the air to the outfield.
Here comes the first pitch. This ball's outside, ball one. I think it looks like Ballard's trying to set up to see if they're going to see Mitchell move.
If she does, I think you want to protect her and try to get the ball on the ground somehow.
Comes the pitch. Again, right on the outside corner, and Carlin really has found that spot well. 1-1 now here. They're going to force
if she can get the bat on the ball in that outside corner, she could try to punch it through the right side with that second baseman moving over. You never know.
And there's a swing and a foul ball to the right side, just what you were saying, out of play.
Yeah, I think the goal has to be right side. You have to be thinking, if I hit one to the shortstop, I think,
You roll up two.
Well, for sure that. But, if you hit one to third, you're not going to get that run home. You have to be able to go right side or something in the air.
Comes the pitch. High. And I tell you, Rigby is just going to come up firing. But I don't know that because I've watched their middle infield. Neither one of those two are moving. So they're not pulling them in like they're going to cover the bag. I don't know if they're going to try to concede that or not. 2-2 with one down here in the inning. And another punch to the right side. Gets out of play as well.
Obviously, first things first, you got to make contact. You don't want to strike out here. It's the last thing that you can have happen.
Absolutely would be a killer.
If you're Charles City.
So Carlin going to fire. And she does get it. She gets that strikeout. Big play right there on that off speed. That's 2 down in the inning now. And that's going to bring up your pitcher, Sammy Hayer. Going to see if she can help herself here. Strikeout victim the first time up.
That is a massive strikeout for Carlin, and that's a killer for Charles City.
Almost feels like the balloon pop,
Yeah. Because
So
now that means you have to get a base hit.
She's got to come through here. Strikeout victim her first time up. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 the count.
She could really do herself a favor here and try to help herself get back in this game.
See if she's going to get something to hit here, though, because I tell you what, Carlin really has pitched well on that outside corner. And, again, does the same thing and gets out there. And almost got Mitchell, or almost got Schmidt at third by Rigby. Boy, that was a great blind throw.
Got to have a lot of confidence in yourself to make that throw down there, because if you misfire and it rolls down that left field line.
Brian Bolin talking to Hayer here, trying to figure it out, how to scratch another run here. So Hayer going to step back in. It's almost like he was talking to her about maybe moving up in the box, get on the ball early. And she does.
It's kind of the equivalent to choking up.
And that one is outside, 1-2. I tell you what, Carlin really has painted that outside corner.
Yeah, she doesn't miss by much. She really makes you guess and think.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you start chasing, and it's just off the edge.
2 down here in the inning as we are in the bottom of the fourth. Foul ball. Still alive is here.
Barely hanging in.
You're hanging on by a thread right there.
This is a huge chance for Charles City, though. They really, if you look back at this game and you look at the chances that you have, these are the ones you have to try to make happen.
And Carlin will work herself out of the inning on the plate. The ball hit back to her. 1-3 on the play. Out number 3. No runs, 1 hit. And he had 1 error on and 2 left. That's going to do it through 4. Your score, 5-1 in favor of Ballard. But Charles City had their chance. That strikeout, like you talked about there to Van Howen, and that with the runners in the position they were, and she strikes out. Just a tough feeling.
That's situational hitting. Yeah, that's the last thing you can have happen. You got to make sure. I mean, she had the right approach, though, at the at-bat. I will say she was fouling him off to the right side, trying to make something happen to that side of the field, and just couldn't make contact there and just couldn't put it in play. And that's the that's the challenge there for Charles City. They're going to look back, and that's going to be the inning they look at and say, hey, that could have been a turning point to get ourselves back in it. Now, the game's not over yet. There's still 3 innings left, so they're not completely out of this, but that would have been a nice kind of rallying point for that Comet squad.
And something that would have helped them in that regard is, right now, Hayer's had back-to-back innings where she's not giving up anything. So
they've been battles, but yeah.
But you're still not giving up that run per se. But if you could have put 1 across here, maybe get 2 there, you feel really good being down 5-2, 5-3, and you've got, you're coming up here, but all of a sudden now it's still sitting 5-1, and you feel that balloon tightening or the air starting to be coming out of it. But we're going to see here what happens with Ballard. It'll be Aaron Holtz, Elliott, and Johnson here in the top of the 5th as Hare starts it off with a strike. 0-1 the count here. So Carly Aaron Holtz.
0 for 1 with a walk. Walked in the 3rd.
Yep. Hitting .356 on the season for the young lady. Pitch in there as a strike. 0-2 now here on Aaron Holtz. Outside, 1-2 now. Pitch from Hare. Swing and a miss, and Aaron Holtz goes down strike. Swinging, out number 1. That'll bring up Hannah Elliott, your designated player, hitting .272 on the season here. First pitch in there, just high and outside. 1-0 the count here on Elliott.
Elliott's had some interesting at-bats. She beat out an infield for an infield hit in the 2nd and then a sacrifice in the 3rd. It's really a full scorebook right now for Ballard. They've done a lot well on offense, working at bats, making counts go long, putting themselves in good situations, and they've had outstanding base running. I think that's going to get lost a little bit.
Swing and a miss.
It's one thing for Charles City to make some of those mistakes that they've made, but Ballard has to capitalize on them, and that their base running has been outstanding in this game.
And very pressure packed. Just absolutely. 2-1 here. There's a ball fouled back and foul. So we're going to be at 2-2 now on Hannah Elliott. Now, if you're Ballard right now, though, you feel really good the position you're sitting in with 5-1 lead. You're in the, the top of the 5th. And a ground ball right back to Hare as she tosses it over to Van Houen, and that's out number 2. 1-3 on the putout.
Well, we've seen this before, the first 2 outs of the inning, and then Ballard starts to make you sweat a little bit. So we'll see. Hare's still looking for that 1-2-3. And here's that switch really for Charles City again.
And this is the only batter they've been using.
Yeah, it's for Bella Johnson.
It's for Johnson only. Fun to watch. It's an interesting shift, and it's worked both times so far. See if they get it. And they do. And you're going to get a 4-3 on the putout. Peters to Van Houen. It's an interesting, but it's working. And there's your first 1-2-3 inning for
she's
Charles
worked
City.
hard for it. She's really improved as this game's gone along.
So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. We're going to move to the bottom half of your 5th inning. Your score, 5-1 in favor of Ballard. And stay tuned with us as we'll start moving out of the 4A side. We're going to jump to the 3A side here. I believe we'll have Assumption and our favorite, CPU, Center Point Urbana. We've seen these girls so many times in the last couple of years. They will do battle here. And folks, you're in for quite a treat with this Davenport Assumption team coming up What are they? They have the longest one in the state. It's
that's 42 straight.
42 straight games they have won. That is impressive. So they'll be it'll be interesting to see that. So coming up here for Charles City in the bottom half of the 5th, it'll be Madeline Peters, Elizabeth Pfizer, and then Reams. So 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up here as we are moving towards the latter half of this game here. 5-1 Ballard.
It looks like Urbandale and Pleasant Valley have wrapped up over there on the first diamond. Not sure on that final. It was 2-1.
Pleasant Valley
at 1 point. So see who advances to that 5A championship game to
face Waukee.
Meet up with the Waukee Warriors. So the CIML dominates in 5A, by the way.
Are you kidding me?
It's just insane.
Is that there's a number out there. I think it was. Is it 14?
14. They've won 14 straight. Yeah.
That is
state
just
championships.
Just an unbelievable.
They'll have a chance at 15. They'll for sure get 15 if
Urbandale wins.
Or excuse me, if Urbandale gets through there to play Waukee.
So 1-1 count here to Madeline Peters. The second baseman struck out her first time up.
Oh, so Pleasant Valley took down Urbandale 2-1 over there.
Yep.
And so Pleasant Valley and
there's
Waukee
a swing down
meet
the
up.
left field line and foul and out of play. So or up against the fence. Like you were calling earlier, when you were talking about how tight the foul side is when you're going down the line. It does get there's probably 10 feet, 12 feet.
Yeah, it's not much.
At best, that's really thin when you get to the outside of those lines. 2-2 the count here on Peters.
But so it'll be the 5A championship game will be Waukee and Pleasant Valley over there. So,
and that's your number 1 team in the state for 5A and Waukee. They've been number 1 for quite a while here. Peters goes down swinging for out number 1 on the strikeout. So now Pfizer comes to bat, hitting .430.
Hit that slow roller her last time up and was able to beat it out on that ground ball to second.
Swings and misses on this one. 0-1 the count. Reams on deck, so we're 8, 9, and 1 hitter here if you're Charles City. Comes the pitch and fouled straight back. She's been on that one, she got on. Not able to do anything with it on that time. 0-2 now here on Pfizer.
Well, Ballard's clearly expecting something in the infield with the entire infield in with nobody on base and 2 outs. Or, excuse me, 1 out.
That ball was high. 1-2 now here on Pfizer. Comes the pitch. Inside, just missed. Boy, Rigby was framing that one, holding it.
This is a good pitch.
It really was. 2-2. 1 down here in the inning. And a little slap foul. So Pfizer will come back here. Still 2-2, 1 out. Bottom of the 5th inning here. Charles City down 5-1.
Somebody's going to meet Winterset tomorrow.
There's a ground ball right back to Carlin. Fields the position. 1-3 on the put out. 2 down here in the inning. That's going to bring up Peyton Reams, the center fielder. Hitting .323. She sacrificed bunt and flew out. So she's looking to get herself on base here.
And Reams didn't have a hit in that win against Fairfield either, so looking for a hit for the first time in the state tournament.
And she checks swings. Ball goes foul here. 0-1 the count here on Reams. Ballard really, even with the one error, really has played pretty well today.
Well, they've been great. I mean,
Charles City, just as you talked about it, in those early innings, they just gave up so much stuff on the weird stuff.
Just errors. It was little things that just added up for them, and it's been the difference so far.
Little became big at that point. So 0-2, 2 down. High for ball 1. 1-2 here. 2 down, bottom of 5. Comes the pitch. Swing. Ball pop straight back, and can't put him on our team.
Off the glove, or off the hands there. Off the hands
no
there.
All-Star team for him. Stays at 1-2. 2 down here in the inning for Charles City.
It's a tough play in the crowd, though. It's a tough play.
That ball's got
a lot
some
of
spin on it.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out how to get some runs across here against Carlin. And she's really settled down even since that home run. She really hasn't allowed much. She's given up 3 hits on the day so far. So deuces are wild. 2-2 here.
She hasn't really been in any trouble. The leadoff homer, and then was able to retire the next 3 in the second inning, and then had a 1-out base hit in the third, but again a sacrifice and then the ground out, and then that 4th inning had a little bit of work to do, but she made it look pretty easy with a strikeout and a ground out to get out of that inning as well.
And there was a lot of promise there, and it just didn't pan out for Charles City at all.
And her demeanor doesn't change when there's runners, at first and third with 1 out, or when there's nobody on and 2 outs. She's the same pitcher, and that speaks a lot to her development and how good she's been.
Quite a battle going here with Reams, though. And she gets these. She's heading back. And that will end the inning on the strikeout. A 1-2-3 inning here for Ballard. And we are going to move to the 6th inning here. We'll be right back right after these messages.
It's about trust. Whether I'm buying a car, hiring a contractor, finding a tax preparer, or an honest mechanic, the Better Business Bureau seal means this business meets high standards. When I see the seal, I know I'll get what I pay for. No more taking chances and no more worries. And I feel good about supporting local businesses. My life is so much easier knowing I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. It pays to look for the seal. See for yourself at bbb.org/Iowa.
At Mid-American Energy, part of putting power in your hands is helping to keep families safe. That's why Mid-American provides free educational safety programs to schools, asks you to call 811 before you dig, have annual furnace inspections, and be aware of hazards at home. Mid-American Energy safely delivers electricity and natural gas to us in good times and stormy ones. That's Mid-American Energy.
Welcome back here to the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network. Zach Carlisle sits next to me. This is Brian Carlisle as we start the top of the 6th with the Ballard Bombers. 5-1 your score. In a game, for all intents and purposes, Ballard really has controlled most of this game. They bust out their 5 runs in the first 2 innings, and by their standards, they're probably a little concerned that they're not scoring, but you're still at 5-1.
Well, it hasn't been anything powerful that they've been doing. They're being really efficient on the base pass, and they're taking advantage of some mistakes that have helped them. A lot of infield hits, a lot of speed, and really just really good base running and decision-making from Ballard that's really helped them on offense in this game.
You bet. 9-1-2 hitters here. It'd be Moody, Rigby, and Newell. So there's Moody, drives one out to right field. It's going to find a place. It finds a spot on the greens for a single. So a bloop single to right field for Jenna Moody, and that's going to bring up Skylar Rigby, your catcher. 405 on the season. And they finally got her out the last time, her last at bat.
You talk about this team being super athletic and just the things that they're able to do. Jenna Moody is an example of that, a very athletic kid. All-conference in basketball and all-conference volleyball player.
Good athlete.
Ballard's made 3 straight basketball state appearances.
Line drive out to right field as Pfizer squeezes it up for out number 1. And a big out for Charles City. That's going to bring up Rachel Newell, your third baseman, hitting .340.
This Ballard team was down at Wells Fargo Arena this last year at state basketball as well. They've been there 3 straight times. They've done. This school's doing a lot right now on the athletic side, and
well, if you're HUSAC,
a lot of athleticism in some of these kids.
If you're Coach HUSAC, though, you got to just be loving this. This is your first year, and you're up here in Fort Dodge.
Well, and they're 5. Well, they're 5 outs. They're 6 outs away, I should say, from
a championship,
from heading to the championship game, and
us and anybody watching gets to see a Raccoon River Conference final possibility.
Right. Yeah, it's and
kind of fitting.
Rightfully so. It's been the best conference in 4A all season, and all summer long.
Some powerhouses, and I think in one of them, Carlisle. One of them played Perry in the regional finals. You could have had possibility of 5 teams. A great bunt, and that one's going to go right on through a base hit by Newell.
I couldn't have
in
rolled
no
the
man's
ball.
land.
I couldn't have rolled the ball out there better. I mean, that was fantastic.
Infield single for her. Moody to second, still with only 1 out in the inning, and now you're going to get into the middle of your lineup here with Carlin and Hobbs and Larson. So Abby Carlin stepping in. 2 walks on the day, officially 0 for 1 on a fly out to left field, her first at bat.
Boy,
she's walked twice.
She's been real patient at the plate. She is not expanding the zone at all.
And the first
see if she can help herself right here for Ballard.
Pitch from Hare. Little outside there. Ball 1. Sundberg doing a good job of squeezing that one up. So Carlin stepping in with just 1 out here in the inning. And it gets away from Sundberg, and everybody moves up 60.
And if you're Charles City, you've seen that too many times today, I think. I think that's been their biggest issue.
That's got to be a pass ball there. So it was 1-1. That was a ball, wasn't it? Was it 2-1 the count? Was that high? Let's see here after the pitch. That one bounced in, and Sundberg did a great job handling that.
Well, that bounced before the white line for the end of that batter's box. That thing jumped in there way ahead. That was wasn't close at all. Just 2-1. That was a strike that actually got by, so that's why it's a pass ball.
There's a ball out of play, so it sits at 2-2.
So that'd be pass ball charge to Sundberg.
Yep.
To allow the runners to move up. There's just been too much of that if you're Charles City in this game.
Yeah, absolutely the worst possible time it all could have happened for them. So 2-2, 1 down in the inning, and this one's going to get away from Sundberg, and you're going to have another run score.
And that'll be a wild pitch.
Wild pitch there, but Moody will come in to score, and it's 6-1. Newell moves up. That's a tough one.
So they've scored 6 times, and I know 2 of them have for sure been on a wild pitch, 1 on an interference.
Yep, so you had 3 there, and then, I think you had 3 runs on wild pitches, and the interference makes 4.
I don't see a third one.
And a swing gets off the glove of Hare, and Carlin is going to reach. I'm going to give that a hit.
That's an infield single, yeah.
I'm giving that one.
That's an infield hit.
We did a concurrence up here, and everybody up here said base hit. So we'll go with that. Sounded good. That was that's a tough play. She has to go completely against her body.
No doubt about it, yep.
So now, first and third, 1 down, 6-1 here as they've double digits the hits here. 10 hits for Ballard so far on the day. And this is Hobbs. Singled her last time up. She's 2 for 3. This one gets in the dirt, and you'll have moving up is Maddie Kyle.
That's a stolen base. She was taken off on that pitch, so that'd be a stolen base.
Good job by Sundberg to knock that one down. Boy, she's been a lot of work down there.
Well, she's had to work hard. Now it hasn't always panned out, but
so Hobbs stepping in and takes a strike. 1-1 the count here on Isabella Hobbs. 387 on the season, 2 for 3 on the day. The pitch. Nice off speed, in for a strike. That was a nice pitch by Hare.
That dropped in nicely. Had a little bit of movement to it as well. I think that was a really good pitch.
So is she able to get the strike out here, minimize the damage here. The pitch gets inside. It's a ball, 2-2. Foul ball straight back off the net. I'm really liking this net right here, I got to say. I wasn't sure I was going to, but I really do because it does does protect the windows up here. 2-2 on Hobbs. The pitch. Swing, drop third. She's going to throw it.
She's safe.
She is safe at first. They didn't make the throw because it wasn't occupied. I think that's what Sundberg was thinking.
I'm not sure what Sunbird was thinking on that one. You have to throw that down to first. Or did she think it was a foul tip of some sort?
Well, originally I think she thought it was a foul, but then she started looking like it wasn't, like she thought first base was occupied, so she wasn't going to make the throw.
I think that was just a drop third.
I think
and
it was
just
too.
Didn't throw it down.
And it is drop third strike. So even with the strikeout,
and that's not an error.
No, not at all.
It's just a strikeout. You just have to throw it down. And
now
she just threw it late.
Bases loaded, 1 out here, and that brings up Maggie Larson.
Wait, no, that's not Maggie Larson. She's out. She is out. She's out because she was at first base.
Nope.
Wait, what are they doing? She's only 1 out. She's standing at first.
1 out. So there should be 1 out and the bases loaded.
1 out, bases loaded here. That's correct.
Was she already at second? Yes.
Yeah, there was a stolen base to get her to second.
All right, so here we go. The pitch. And there's one. Little fly out, a little pop up to Larson. And that's a huge, huge out. I'm sorry, to Mitchell.
So that'll be the second out. Yeah.
Yes. Line out to 6. That's second out now. That's a big pitch. 1 pitch that. Now brings up Carly Ehrenholtz, the left fielder. So 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. First pitch in there, called strike. Hare trying to get through this. Leave them loaded here. Comes the pitch. And a ball that's lifted out to right field. And it is caught by Pfizer for out number 3.
Well, the fact that she was only able to get out of that with just 1 run,
huge.
that's pretty good right
That
there.
is. But that will put a run across at 6-1 now in favor.
So I got 1 run on 3 hits. And then I don't actually have an official error.
But 3 left on. So if you're looking at Ballard's line just right now, you got 6, 7, 8. That's 10 runners.
Think about where this game. Just think about where this game could be. I mean, Ballard could have easily 10 or
well, in all reality, this thing
10
would
or
have been
12
over
runs. I mean, yeah,
because you would have finished it after
right,
5.
Right.
Because there's 10 runners left on. You have literally put pressure. The only one that you didn't put pressure on was the 5th inning. There's been runners left on base every other inning. That's putting a lot of pressure on everybody. That, you're going to break them down eventually. That's just going to happen. But you also have a pitcher like Carlin who is really throwing. It doesn't look like she's throwing big strikeout numbers, but she's only given up 3 hits and 1 run. That's that's efficient.
She's got 5 strikeouts through 5 innings. She'll take that any day of the week. I mean.
We got spoiled that first game, by the way.
Well, 10 strikeouts through 4 was insane. She was outstanding, and Carlin's been just as good.
Yes, absolutely.
I think people kind of confuse the strikeout with being a good pitcher, and you can be a contact pitcher and be a great pitcher.
Yep. And
Carlin's got 5 strikeouts.
And look at the other. Well, look at Stover. That was a ground ball pitcher, and she had just a phenomenal game. So that's going to bring up for Charles City the 2, 3, and 4 hitters here. It'll be Sundberg, Schmidt, and Martin.
And if Charles City's going to have a chance,
it's got to be here.
They've got some work to do for sure.
Their first pitch in there fouled off by Sundberg.
Yeah, Sundberg's 0 for 2.
As we have our a nice guy just walked into the booth for us here. Ball through the left side, Sundberg. As Dar Danielson is joining us as he's bringing water and then wanting money. I don't know how we have to pull this one off. That's a single by Sundberg there. Starts the inning for Charles City. Dar, thank you very much for stopping. And that's going to bring up Taylor Schmidt will be coming up, but running number 8 for Charles City. Number 8 will be Kiki Connell. So she will be pinch running for Sundberg, and that's going to bring up Taylor Schmidt, your third baseman. 1 for 2 on the day as she hit a single her last time up. Got stranded at third. Pitch coming. Right on the outside corner, strike 1. 0-1. Pitch from Carlin. High and away. 1-1 your count here on Schmidt. Here comes the pitch from Carlin. Little soft ground ball. Back to Carlin. Carlin fires to first. Larson squeezes it up for out number 1.
It was almost accidental contact right there.
Yeah, it almost looked that way, didn't it? But it does the job. It was efficient. Gets Connell to second.
But that's what really has been working for Carlin. Just a lot of weak contact to this game off of those Charles City bats. She's really neutralized a really good Comet offense.
I'd love to go back and see. I think she's handled probably 5, maybe 6 at the fielding position. That's really good with your pitcher.
She has fielded 6 ground balls herself in this game.
And in 0-1, she starts Martin, hits that outside edge again. I think they're going to keep her out there. They're going to force Martin to drive it anything to the right side. They don't want her to extend her hands.
Those have been the only ground ball out. Nope, correction. The only other ground ball out was a 5-3 put out. So if it's in the infield, it's going right back to her. I mean, that's all it's been. So that's hard to beat that out.
You betcha. 1-1 the count here to Sarah Martin. Big swing and a miss. Got way ahead of her. Carlin was way out in front of her. Slowed that thing, took a lot off. I'd love to know that speed. So 1-2 the count here to Martin. Just misses the outside edge. 2-2 now. Runner at second, Kiki Connell. After the Sundberg single. See if Martin can get it done. Not going to be able to swing and a miss on a strikeout. 2 down here in the inning now in the bottom of the 6th. Brings up Bailey Mitchell, your shortstop. 404 on the season. Oh for on the day. Swing and a miss. An error on that second one. That's right. I didn't write anything. Yes, it was. You're correct. 0 for 2.
But, yeah, it did reach on that error by Carlin in the 4th inning.
And a little ground ball to the second baseman. Hobbs to Larson. Finishes up the inning for Charles City. So that's going to take us to the top of the 7th here, folks. Ballard leads 6-1. And we've got this to finish it. Charles City basically down to that last half of their at-bats here. But Ballard will bring up Elliott Johnson and Moody. And You know, you really feel for the ladies from Charles City. Just had really kind of a rough day, just as far as that they could have. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back to put the finishing touches on this game.
Receive our customers now, and after being here 10 years, that has just exploded for us. And that's a big area of our business because people like the way they were treated. The customer experience we can provide is second to none, and we're committed to it. And I'm here to make sure that gets done.
Schottenkirk Chevy on the west end of Hickman, Waukee, WaukeeChevy.com.
Repeat and referral.
Believes in competition and good sportsmanship. Who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Welcome back here to the player by Johnson and Moody, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters facing Hare. For her first pitch was ball, the second one as well. So 2-0 the count. That gets you caught up where we are at. Brian Carlisle alongside Zach Carlisle with me today as we will bring you, this is the second of 5 games here on this diamond. We'll be having 3A action next. And then we will wrap it up with a 1A game with Clarksville and Sigourney. That'll be our last one here. We're here for the duration. 3-0 the count here now for Elliott. Alongside our producer, Peter Tarpey. As that pitch in there, called strike. Doing a great job as always. Enjoying his time here, I can tell. 3-1 now. The pitch in there. 3-2 now. Hannah Elliott singled her first time up and has hit back to the pitcher the last 2 times. So 1 for 3 on the day. Scored a run as well. The pitch. Swing and a one right over. Great play by Mitchell as she turns and runs to make the catch. Nice over-the-shoulder catch is right. So we've got 1 out here in the inning. That's going to bring up Bella Johnson, your shortstop. Have any update? Anything going on the other diamond?
1-0 lead over there for Iowa City Regina over Durant.
That's the 2A. There's a swing and a shot out to left field. Squeezed up by Martin for out number 2. And quickly 2 outs in the inning. That'll bring up your right fielder, number 12, Jenna Moody. Singled her last time up.
Yeah, she's got a couple of hits in this one.
And she's had a nice day. Yeah, she had a bunt that second inning and singled her last one. Good day so far from the bottom half of the big swing at him. Fouled straight back. 2 for 3 on the day. Ballard's bottom half's been productive.
Yeah, up and down they've done a really good job. Scattering 10 hits, obviously, and then putting together at-bats and running well. And they've done it all today, up and down, 1 through 9.
So, see what they call. What they call that pitch? I didn't see it. Swing. There's a ball popped into and it will make the top of the dugout. So we know for sure. Maybe must be 1 and 2.
I don't think so. I think it's just 0-2, but.
All right, 1 and 2 the count here as Hare, swing and a miss by Moody, down for the 3rd out of the inning. That's going to end it there for Ballard. But now Charles City coming up. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. So we will head to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Van Houen, Hare, and Peters. So Van Howen, Hayer, and Peters coming up. You hear? Okay. So Charles City down to their last 3 outs. So, you know, Zach, I was saying it earlier just before we went to our last break. You just feel for these girls from Charles City. It just had some of the weird things happen that you just couldn't overcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of self-inflicted wounds today, I think, and they're going to look back on this game and say, you know, where could we have maybe turned some things around? Well, those first couple of innings, the wild pitches, the pass balls, the mistakes defensively, you know, those things hurt you. You know, pitching and defense wins you games, and it was just a rough start for Charles City, and just a little bit too much to try to overcome. And give Ballard credit, they took advantage and they got out early, and they're trying to use their formula that they've used all season long and all postseason, is just jump out to big lead and let your pitcher go to work, and that's what Carlin's done.
And those they got the gifts, and those gifts really have come back. I mean, just like you said, it came back to bite Charles City today, and it's unfortunate, but you know, there's a shot out to right field, and it's a double. So Van Howen leads off with a double on a great attempt by Moody. Not able to get it, but boy, what a hustle effort by Moody. So to lead off here, Van Howen with a double. So Charles City not going to quite go away yet, are they?
Yeah, they're going to need a lot to go their way, though, I will say, in this final inning. They're going to need a chain of hits. They're going to need to string a whole bunch together to get this going. So if you're Ballard, you're not too concerned really at all for that with that leadoff double.
So Cora Crooks is going to hit now for Hayer. So the leadoff double by Van Howen. And Charles City is just going to see if they can at least scratch back their way back into something here. So Cora Crooks will pinch hit. First pitch in there is high for ball 1. So Carlin's still firing. But what a great effort by Moody. Just quite not enough to get there. Got the ball in the glove, just not able to squeeze it up.
Yep, outstanding effort. Great hustle to get over there. I didn't think that play had a chance, and she
not from where she started.
She gave it a chance. I mean, credit her speed. She could track that down in the outfield.
2-0 the count now here on Crooks. Foul ball off the mask of Rigby. 2-1 now. I tell you what, all of a sudden the sun's gone. You got clouds in the sky. Thank you for that.
Well, that helps a little bit, doesn't it? Cool it off a little bit. The wind has been completely consistent and very minimal all day.
Yep. Another foul ball out of play here. So now we're right to the backstop. 2-2 your count now.
Yeah, but again, Charles City, they're going to need
a lot.
Walks, hits. I mean, they're going to need a bunch of them to try to stay in.
And you got to string this stuff together. And a strikeout there of Crooks for out number 1. That'll bring up Madeline Peters, the second baseman, hitting .333. 2 strikeouts on the day. And we're going to have a pinch runner now here for Van Houten. Number 15, Kelby Catcher. So Peters to step in. It's more fun just to listen, isn't it, Zach? If you guys could hear what we hear. So Peter stepping in here and looking to try to lay a bunt down. Missed it. It went foul. 0-1 the count here. So Catcher looks like she's got something on the wrist. She's wearing quite a little brace on the hand there. So Peters stepping in with an 0-1 count. 1 down here in the inning for Charles City. Here comes the pitch. High for ball 1. 1-1 now. And if you're Carlin, you want to stay. Your last one you want to see is Pfizer. You don't want to come back up to the top of the lineup here if you don't have to. See if
you don't want to make this too interesting. I mean, again, a lot has to go Charles City's way with just 2 outs to work with, and they're down 5. But
that ball hit down the left field line and out of bounds, or out of field.
But not saying it can't be done.
Nope.
Comebacks are very possible. But
Yep, but it's 1-2 now here on Peters. The pitch from Carlin. Low. Just missed. Boy, she really has done a nice job, Herbie and Carlin, of really painting the outside edge of the plate here today for Ballard. 2-2 your count. And that's a foul ball. Just missed getting down the line. I think that one would have at least scored. Wow.
Great call, though.
I think catcher, yeah, that was a great call. It's the right call. I think catcher could have scored on that one, but boy, Moody was to that one in a quick hurry.
Once the ball gets to the grass, it really slows down. I mean, that was a rocket, and it just stopped about halfway down the right field line.
2-2 your count here. Pitch. And hits the inside part of the plate for a strikeout, and that is out number 2. Caught looking was Peters, and that's going to bring up Pfizer. Down to their last out here. Elizabeth Pfizer, 1 for 2 on the day.
That was the 8th strikeout for Carlin. She's been outstanding all day for Ballard. She's just scattered just 5 hits and just 1 run for it.
And a ball tapped foul.
And 4 hits didn't do any damage at all. It was just the one solo shot for Charles City. That's been in. No damage done besides Sarah Martin's homer.
Carlin's been really effective. Just steady. I think that's what we've seen so far. The name of the game for all of the pitchers we've seen. Just steady. I mean, Hayer really hasn't had much to talk about other than the fact that she had some, just some weird stuff happen to her. But she's been effective. Keeping Ballard down to 6 is probably pretty good, but you just couldn't get your offense going either, which has been tough. 0-1. There's a ball fouled straight back. So now Charles City down to their last strike here. Down 0-2 the count. And they're bringing everybody in. Look, their infield is way in. Just anticipating the slap and run. So we'll see what Carlin does here. Swing and a miss. No, she did not go. So 1-2 the count. Wow, he was emphatic that she did not go.
How about that?
That was pretty good. So stepping back in, Pfizer still alive, 1-2 the count. Gets the slap, and it's going to get down. I'm going to go E5.
I don't know. I don't. That's tough. That's tough. I might go infield hit on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what? I can go with that. Why not?
So
So first and third, 2 down, and we're back to the top of the order in Peyton Reams.
Because even if she makes a throw on the run, I think they're beating it out anyway. So I think
she was getting down the line. I'd give you that.
Field hit is the right call.
First pitch in there. Strike on the off speed by Carlin. Good pitch. Charles City not going to go away. First and third, 2 down.
Still need a couple more base runners to bring the tying run up.
You got to get this one on though to get some people up. There's a swing. Ball hit to the shortstop. That'll do it. 6-3. That's your third out. So no runs, 1 hit. 2 hits, and nobody left on. So that will do it. From here, Ballard wins 6-1. And we've seen a pretty good one. So now that'll set your 4A final. That'll be Winterset and Ballard in the 4A final. So, again, your score here. So thank you for joining us for Game 2. Once again, the final score, 6-1, Ballard over Charles City. For Zach Carlisle and our entire crew, the gang headed by Peter Tarpey, of course, I'm Brian Carlisle saying so long for now. This has been a presentation of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union State Softball Tournament on the Mid-American Energy Iowa High School Girls Sports Network. Stick around. The Class 3A semifinals are coming up next.
Work, play, and everything in between. Stay cool with Carhartt from G&L Clothing. High-performance jackets, tees, and shorts. Whatever you do, you'll be more comfortable in Carhartt. Find it all at the Carhartt store inside G&L Clothing.
G&L Clothing. Your size, your style, we've got it all.
Work, play, and everything in between.